Love podcasts, hate nonsense. It's the PoliticsJOE podcast, ladies and gentlemen. What an episode today, Ava Santini.
What an episode.
It's jam-packed. It's full.
Yeah.
It's fucking full.
It's got more jam in it than Jeremy Corbyn's allotment.
Well.
Because he makes jam off of the allotment.
I understood the reference.
Yeah, that's the... You like jam?
We are going to do PMQs. And then later, we're going to be joined by someone else. And they're not Ed Campbell.
But they'll be in Ed Campbell's seat.
They will.
Ed Campbell couldn't make it today, so we had to get a last-minute transfer.
Oh, we thought, fuck it, let's get the Mayor of London, see what he's up to. You got on the phone, you said, Sadiq, come and sit down. Sit down at the table. Eat your dinner. Have your vegetables. Have your podcasting vegetables.
Yeah.
And boy, listeners, viewers, did he have his vegetables?
He ate. Some say he left no crumbs.
It's a goodie. Some news lines in that.
Yes.
Run us through what was notable about what he said.
Oh, we're going to preview it.
Well, I'll do a little preview. Just be like, this is what you're going to get later before we do PMQs.
Okay, yeah, we talked about Susan Hall, who we had to empty chair because she did not reply to our requests for interview.
She did not.
He talked about the campaign that she's been running, particularly her, liking of tweets endorsing Enoch Powell, her backing of certain ex-Conservative MPs who might have called him an Islamist.
He said she'd said and done racist things.
Oh, we're just going to drop the lines, yeah?
Well, there's the line, isn't it?
Yeah, don't bother watching it. Just enjoy the preview.
Interesting chats about housing, interesting chats about knife crime.
Yes, but the big thing, I think, which shocked me, there are 900,000 people in London who are eligible to vote but won't be voting tomorrow because they don't have ID. Like, that is astonishing. What worries me is that there isn't going to be a recording of the number of people who go to voting booths tomorrow, polling booths, and can't vote because they haven't got ID with them. There'll be a number of people who will forget. There'll be a number of people who don't have ID. And that is going to change the voting landscape.
Yeah, undoubtedly it will.
It should. It's a shame that you can't document it. You couldn't vote today. Who would you have voted for? I guess it doesn't work like that.
Do we need? Are we kind of doing our public service here, telling our audience that they need to take their photo ID?
You need to take your photo ID tomorrow.
Take your photo ID tomorrow when you go and vote.
You don't necessarily need your polling card. You need your ID.
You need your ID.
You can get away with it without your polling card.
Gorgeous little voters.
You tell Susan, who's manning the booth, you say, listen, Suze.
I am here to vote.
I don't need the piece of paper.
Get out my way.
I've got this fat bit of plastic.
Democracy is happening.
Yeah.
Don't get in the way of my
and
democracy.
And then you get in that booth and you put a tick in the box that you like.
Always.
Obviously one tick this time because first past post.
One tick, one box. If you're in London.
Yeah, don't put two ticks in two boxes because that'll be a spoiled ballot.
Yeah, you'll get yourself in trouble if you do that.
Yeah, and you'll embarrass yourself as well.
It's always best to stick to one box.
You'd be humiliated knowing that you've put two X's in two boxes.
This fucking idiot, he doesn't know how to vote.
Yeah, stupid fuck.
Loser.
How did he even get ID in the first place? Clearly can't fill out a form.
He shouldn't be out.
No.
Someone come pick up their child, please.
Yeah. Well, children can't vote, Ollie.
Well, that's what you think. That's what you think.
Yeah. I nearly said something so sick and I'm glad I didn't. Okay, carry on.
PMQs?
Let's go.
Roll the clip.
He wants to abolish national insurance. It'll cost £46 billion and he won't tell us where the money is coming from. We're no closer to an answer. I'm going to persevere because last year the Prime Minister was apparently drawing up plans to remove the winter fuel allowance from pensioners. His Paymaster General went a step further. He said these are the sorts of things that we need to look at. So will he now rule out taking pensioners' winter fuel payments off them to help fund his £46 billion black hole?
Mr. Speaker, it was this government that just this winter provided double the winter fuel payment to support pensioners. But what is crystal clear, Mr. Speaker, is that we believe that the double taxation on work is unfair, Mr. Speaker. We believe that hard work should be rewarded, and that's why this week we're cutting taxes by £900 for everyone in work. But in contrast, Mr. Speaker, it's Labour's newest tax advisor who thinks pensioners should be taxed more. That's his words, Mr. Speaker. This advisor calls them codgers. He thinks that supporting them is a disgrace, and he believes that their free TV licences are ridiculous, Mr. Speaker. It's Labour who hit pensioners with tax after tax, and they would do it all over again.
Is it any wonder that his MPs are following Tory voters in queuing up to dump his party? And even the mayors that he's apparently pinning his political survival on don't want to be seen anywhere near him, because until he starts setting out how he's paying for his fantasy economics, he's got a completely unfunded £46 billion promise that puts people's retirement at risk. How does it feel to be one day out from elections with the message, vote Tory, risk your pension?
Mr. Speaker, tomorrow voters will have a choice, and it will be a choice between mayors like Andy Street and Ben Houchen who are delivering, or mayors like Sadiq Khan who just simply virtue signal, Mr. Speaker. It's higher taxes, more crime and ULEZ with Labour, or it's lower taxes and better services with the Conservatives. That's the choice. From West Midlands to Teesside to London, there is only one choice. Vote Conservative.
I thought Keir Starmer was a little bit sluggish today.
Oh, you wouldn't say he was statesman-like?
I wouldn't say it was forensic by any means. No.
You'd say it was a bit of a damp squib, would you?
I would say it was a damp squib. I'd say PMQs passed without either of them landing a blow on each other.
No tanks on each other's lawns?
I think they kept their powder dry.
That's really funny. Well,
National insurance.
We're back on NI. Back on this.
In many ways, the UK's always been on NI.
There is that. So Jeremy Hunt, there's this rumour in Westminster. There's a sniff that he wants to abolish national insurance altogether, and that'll cost the country a whopping £46 billion. Whopping. And what Keir Starmer whopping, and Keir Starmer regularly gets attacked for not having a fully costed plan. So he's turned tables. How the tables have turned. And he said, well, you haven't costed this, have you, Chancellor?
I don't think it lands in the same way.
No, there's not quite a ball through the hoop. Shut up.
Is that one? Is that
it's not quite a back.
We're going to make that one.
Yeah, it's not quite back of the net.
No, I think...
he's offside.
The context, it works because it's been central to Tory party messaging for so long that the Labour Party is bad at economics. The Labour Party doesn't understand economics. That when you go, well, the Labour Party manifesto is uncosted, everyone goes, fucking hell, the Labour Party manifesto is uncosted. What are they like? Classic Labour Party.
Yeah.
I'm going to run for the hills. When you go, you're planning on doing a £46 billion tax cut that's uncosted, everyone's like, I don't think it lands in the same way.
We'll find it. They'll find it somewhere.
Shake the magic money tree.
Well, look, if they would just close the rest of those bloody youth centres, and, they can make cuts by not building any new hospitals.
Liz Truss tried it, didn't she? Unfunded tax cuts. Didn't really work out.
Yeah, but if you ask her, she reckons it did.
This went perfectly. I think this fits into a broader trend. Which is that the Conservative Party has realised they're not going to win the next election. I mean, there is still a faint chance. Anything is possible, right? It could turn around, but odds are it's going to be Keir Starmer who's the next Prime Minister. So what do you do? How do you make it so difficult for him to govern? You spend all his fucking money.
Yeah.
Whether it's national insurance, whether it's 2.5% for defence, triple lock, all of these things, and you spend the run-up to that general election going, well, are you going to back it? Are you going to back 2.5% for defence? You do these things that politically he wants to say he's going to do because he's trying to mirror you and he's trying to follow you. So what do? You make spending commitments. So that by the time it gets around to a general election, they've nicked your loopholes that you were using for various bits of funding in the budget. They make you commit to 2.5% on defence. They make you commit to whatever your tax and spend policies are going to be. So that by the time they come round, you're Keir Starmer going, well, all I have left is reform. I have no tax and spend left. And in fact, they're actually spending the fiscal headroom as well.
Yeah, they've eaten through that headroom, haven't they?
Big time.
So we might have a similar situation to the last time with Liam Byrne, when he writes, "There's no money left." This time it will have to be Bim Afalami who writes it.
I thought they always did that.
There's no money left.
Yeah, I thought it was like a recurring joke. But they just weaponised it when Liam Byrne did it.
There's always money left.
New Labour departed. Yeah. How it gets spent is a political choice.
You could say that. I would actually argue you have said that before.
I've said it a few times over, Santina.
Yeah, but no one's listening, are they?
Never. No one fucking listens.
Speaking of political choices,
Oi. Segue.
Keir Starmer is reneging.
What's he reneging on this time?
He is reneging on the New Deal for workers.
Is it renege? Is it? I never know how to say that word because it's not reneging, is it?
What, renege?
Renege. No, it's not that. It must be reneging.
Do you know that tweet by that Fiat 500 Twitter that's like, can't wait to eat a pan au chocolate la?
That was a good one.
It's like renege.
You've been seeing those tweets, that quote tweet that's like, what's the peak moment of chaos for Fiat 500 Twitter?
It's one of those threads that makes me want to be on Twitter and actually want to be alive.
My favourite so far is the girl who did the COVID 5K run that was 2 minutes faster than the world record for a 5K run.
No, what's that?
She, you know, during COVID, everyone's like, I've run 5K, here's my time, here are the 5 people I'm nominating, go out and do some exercise. And she posts one, and it's like, with her 5 friends' names on a thing, and then her Strava time, and she's run 5K in like 12 minutes.
That's what Sean said he ran it in the other day, 11 minutes.
Oh, bollocks.
He said he ran 5K in 11 minutes.
Well, he
I'm so sorry. I thought you said you ran 5K in 11 minutes, and I was so confused by that, because I came in the other day, you know, like guns blazing. I was like, I ran a 5K in 24 minutes. And I was really excited about it. I was particularly excited about it because I'd just come off a weekend of smoking 60 cigarettes.
Nice.
For insurance purposes, I'm lying.
I did that once, you know.
Yeah?
I was inquiring about life insurance, and on the Zoom call with the guy, I was vaping.
Fuck.
And he was like, Ollie, I know on the form you've written here that you don't use nicotine products. Guess I'll be taking it out with someone else then. Jeff?
That laugh.
Yeah. Loser, you fucking loser. Who's a loser? You, because you don't vape, you fucking neek.
That laugh was the laugh of someone who takes out life insurance.
Yeah, I haven't actually done that yet. I do need to take it out.
You should take that out.
There's a lot of haters out there, a lot of sharks out there trying to take a bite of this.
Yeah?
I'm a marked man, yeah.
A marked man?
I am a marked man.
Wow.
Yeah. I got a target on my back, Ava. It's tough out here.
Well, so does Angela Rayner.
Please, God, you keep segueing back to this story. I love it. Go on, tell me it. What is the story? We've been talking around it for so long.
Okay, so Keir Starmer is set to unveil a weakened package of workers' rights in the coming weeks.
No.
Now, if you'll remember...
No.
This is the latest renege in Angela Rayner. This was her flagship policy. She actually came to the TUC conference last year to unveil it, to rapturous applause.
I think regular listeners will recognise that we've actually been suggesting that something like this might be happening in the near future. They may remember that. They may remember that.
Well, because, you know, Peter Mandelson of Post Office fame, I'm going to keep saying that because people aren't associating Peter Mandelson with the Horizon scandal. And you should. And Pat McFadden.
Don't. That eyebrow might raise.
The eyebrow. But you see, the thing is that when things get really, really tense, I love it.
Yeah.
That's always that's a terrible, terrible thing to like, is when a situation gets so uncomfortable. Oh, Minister, are you angry? Don't, because this could. Whoo!
Yeah.
Anyway, Peter Mandelson wants to give more power to business, less power to workers. He wrote about this in the Times.
God, that sounds like exactly the sort of thing the Party of Organised Labour should be doing.
Yes, and also Peter Mandelson, not a big fan of Angela Rayner. So, again, for regular listeners to the podcast, when I was talking to you about how I think they're trying to make her position untenable so that she has to resign.
Yeah.
Also, you stupid fuck, if you listened to me explaining that the only way that she could go is if she resigns, and then replied being like, Ava doesn't understand how the NEC works because the only way she could go is if she resigns. That's what I said.
Are you okay?
You stupid fuck.
Did it bother you?
Yes, it did.
I think it might have
I
done a little
hate
bit.
when people can't open their ear holes. Sorry, I'm on my period. I'm not.
Maybe we just don't say whether we are or we aren't. Maybe
Why not?
that's an option.
Sexist.
Sorry. Right on.
Anyway, where was
Would
I?
it help if there was a form you could fill out every day, put it on the desk, everyone would know?
I don't think Ed needs one.
That's where he is, actually. He's off sick today, PMS.
So anyway, I essentially, this is Peter Mandelson making Rayner's position untenable because he doesn't want, in my opinion, her to be in the cabinet when they win the election. And it's going to get to a point where the unions are going to start shouting. They're going to turn on Angela Rayner and they're going to say, you promised us this. You can't be there anymore.
I think the Labour Party will just tell them to take their fucking medicine. I
But
think
is
it's
Angela going to do that? That's the problem. She's being bullied. She's being singled out.
I think it's the same for everyone, which is that they're so close to power now that you can be bullish and say, sorry, lads, you're not getting it. And if you want to be outside the tent, if you want to disaffiliate, you want to take your funding away, that's fine. But expect more of the same of the last 14 years. Because you're about to get a political party in Downing Street that you're going to have the ear of. So if you don't want to be a part of that, that's fine. Off you go. Yeah.
Another clip?
Yes, let's do another clip. Ava, Stephen Flynn, asking questions about Gaza.
Mr. Speaker, let's all be in no doubt, aid is required in Gaza, and it is required because when people are not being bombed, they are starving to death. The solution to that is a ceasefire and the opening of safe ground air routes, not the involvement on the ground of UK military personnel. These are dramatic and potentially dangerous developments. So will the Prime Minister confirm to the House today that before he makes a decision, all members will be afforded a vote?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to apologise for our armed forces playing a leading role in supporting international efforts to get more aid in. And indeed, we are sending Royal Navy support ship, RFA Cardigan Bay, to the region to support that effort. But when he talks about this conflict, the fastest way to end this conflict is to ensure that we have a hostage deal that gets hostages out, aid in, and for there to be a sustainable pause in the fighting. And it seems clear that there now is a workable offer on the table. So I hope he joins with me in encouraging all parties, including Hamas, to accept that deal so we can move towards a sustainable solution.
Bombastic side-eye from Stephen Flynn today. Bombastic.
It was bombastic, was it?
Yes.
Could you give me how does one deliver bombastic side eye?
Well, the thing is that he's just off to the side a little bit. That's where his position is in the chamber.
Right, so he's always side-eyeing.
He's always side-eyeing, actually.
But it was bombastic.
But today it was bombastic.
Okay, with great bombast.
Yeah, with great bombast. No renage. No? Just bombast.
Yes.
So actually what he's arguing against is parking tanks on any lawn. He's concerned that the UK army will have to facilitate the delivery of aid into Gaza.
Yeah.
He says that there should be a vote in the Commons before that's allowed to take place because that is entering the conflict. You know, because, look, listen, I'm sure Flynn is already aware of this, but, you know, we are already in the conflict. But that would actually be entering the conflict. Do you know what I'm saying? It's sort of like how we go, oh, Ukraine, we don't want to put boots on the ground. And it's like, okay, but we're literally giving them loads of weapons. So, like, we're kind of involved. Do you think that Putin's like, where did these come from? I didn't know Zelensky had so many bombs.
Yeah, there is a... there's just something tangible about it. isn't there, about the having of the actual soldiers there, even though, our ships are now shooting down missiles and drones, even though we're participating in, for example, when the Iranians fired all that shite at Israel.
Oh, and the RAF were up there.
Yeah. We're there. And I think one can safely assume that, there are other, shall we say, clandestine operations going on that none of us would ever know about that have been happening in that region for decades. So I understand the question. Should we wait for that?
They can pack it in, can't they?
They can fucking pack it in. What's
Do
so
you know what I
important?
mean?
There's a podcast happening. It's disrespectful.
God, imagine if this leads to conscription. Well, I can't go.
Get a tan.
We can't go. We're key workers. We have a podcast.
You to the recruitment officer.
Sorry.
Who's going to podcast? What was I saying?
There are at least 3 people who depend on this.
Exactly. I think I understand the symbolism of saying, what about boots on the ground? Like, we should vote if there are boots on the ground. Simultaneously, I think, well, in many ways, there kind of already are. Admittedly, the boots, they're in the sky and they're in the sea.
Well, they've got to land at some point, haven't they?
But
the RAF aren't up there the whole time.
the distinction shouldn't be that the boot has to be in contact with the soil of Israel for it to count. You know what I mean? Like, we have a military presence there.
The aid's actually going into Gaza, so you've let your feelings known, haven't you?
I really have. Yeah, I'm an Israel apologist, by the way. I don't know if you saw that in the subreddit. So that would be why that Freudian slip there has indicated.
Yeah.
Really showed my true colours. Yeah. But also, if the soldiers are delivering aid, is that something that do we need to vote on that?
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to find an opening, because the conflict has been really closed off to the House this entire time. Like, you've had zero intervention from MPs. Even any vote that you've had has been an opposition day vote. It's not been made by the government.
You really are unwell.
Oh no. And so he's trying to find an opening. He's trying to find a way in.
Are you here to shame Ed? Like, you're ill and you're here, and he's ill and he's not?
Well, I just sort of figured as well that we've all been... I started getting ill yesterday, and I'm like, well, everyone's already infected anyway, because it was not from Ed, it's from me now, and it's too late. And we've got stuff to do.
We do have stuff. We've got to interview the fucking Mayor of London. Got to talk about PMQs. You've been to a protest this morning?
I did go to a protest.
We've got a James O'Brien interview to publish. It's busy. We're busy
I've got to
people.
talk to people selling trying to get flowers through the border later.
This is going to be a fun edit. Do you
Leave
think
the sneezes in.
Leave the sneezes in?
No, do you know what they actually do? They cut to me when I'm coughing.
You keep complaining about that. It was one edit, and I did it.
One edit too many.
I did it because I can't remember who was off, and so I edited the podcast, and I just didn't. I just trusted the vision mix. I was like, that's fine.
Oh, you're a stupid fuck.
In point, out point.
What do you think Sean's doing back there? Sean's just fanning about.
What are you doing back there, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There it is.
Nothing will ever be as funny as the podcast we put out where we were talking about how it feels to be a woman in Parliament, and the entire time the camera was focused on Ed.
But that's an editorial decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
It looked like it was. That's why it was. Yeah, it was really funny. I really rated that.
Another little clip. We got to get through them. Otherwise, we won't have time for Sadiq.
The clips don't roll unless you roll them.
Roll the clip.
We can see the Rwanda deterrent is working, and we've now deported our first illegal migrants. But unsurprisingly, Labour just don't care. The Shadow Home Secretary is busy posing for pics, encouraging more boats to come over. The leader of the Labour Party said he would cancel the Rwanda flights. He took a knee when signing letters stopping us deporting illegal foreign national offenders who committed crimes like murder and rape. And he'd do a deal with the EU, surrendering our borders to 100,000 legal migrants. Isn't it right, Prime Minister, that only the Conservatives will stop the boats and cut legal migration?
Well, my honourable friend is absolutely right, Mr. Speaker. Our plan is working. Legal migration, the latest figures show, down by 24%. Student dependence down by 80%. But we all know Labour's big idea. It's to scrap the Rwanda plan, even when it's operational, Mr. Speaker. But as one senior Labour advisor said to Andrew Marr just yesterday, we can't just come in, tear it up and have nothing to put in its place. I'm sorry to break it to them, but that's exactly their policy. While we're getting on stopping the boats, all Labour would do is stop the planes.
Fucking good old Jonathan Gullis, Ava Santina.
Yeah.
Good old Jonathan Gullis. What a man.
It's sort of like Sisyphus rolling that stone.
Right.
Except it's a Tory MP burdened with his stupidity. Stupid man.
Yeah.
You know what was really funny about this?
What was really funny about it?
The answer that the Prime Minister gave before to another MP was that the Mayor of London, all he ever does is virtue signal. Then Gullis stood up and goes, and Keir Starmer, he took the knee and he wants to be friends with the EU and when you agree, it's bad. And then sat down again. And it's like,
what was that?
you can imagine Sunak going, fucking hell.
What?
No one else wanted to ask a question. No one else.
Well, actually, I think Sunak said he was quite right. He's like, I agree.
He's not going to say he's quite wrong, is he?
Maybe you should.
There's a good bit at the end of Politics Live today where Damien Green says that he misses Lee Anderson being in the Conservative Party. And this sounds really cunty now, and I said, oh, what, Lee Anderson of Islamist fame, because he called the Mayor of London an Islamist. And he's like, well, the Conservative Party's a broad church.
No.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, yeah. You have if you have a first past the post electoral system, two-party system, right? Inevitably, the two parties are broad churches. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't have boundaries. It doesn't mean there shouldn't be limits on what you can and can't say. And I think if you're Lee Anderson and you've sort of essentially called for the ending of the rule of law when you say that planes to Rwanda should take off even if it's illegal, or you say some of the things that he said about... Did you see he was in Blackpool recently?
Yes. Are you going to talk about the £100,000 salary thing?
Yeah.
What a guy.
And also, he was...
Should we explain that?
Please.
Lee Anderson replied to someone who was like... Lee Anderson, man of the people, remember? Lee Anderson replied to someone who was like, well, why don't you get another job on GB News? And he was like, well, when you've got £100,000 salary, you let me know. You come back to me. And it was like, oh, I'm sorry. I've been misunderstanding your MO. Carry on.
Well, he was also complaining about how many Romani people had moved into Blackpool.
Yes!
You have previously asked him about his, previous remarks about GRT people, right?
Well, I didn't ask him. I actually asked Richard Tice, and
Yes.
then Lee Anderson jumped up from his seat to go, Ava, you are quite wrong once again.
Because you're not actually allowed to ask him questions, right?
I'm not actually.
No. There's us.
No, he shook my hand afterwards, to be fair.
Oh, it's all okay then. Because it's us, The Guardian and LBC he won't speak to?
While he was telling the LBC and Guardian journalists that he will not speak to them.
Yes. Lover of free speech.
Yeah.
Lover of the
But
free
it's
media.
really funny as well because you're like, we're having this conversation. There's like journalists huddling around him at the end. And he's just like talking to them being like, how are you? Yeah, nice to see you. No, I can't talk to you, I'm afraid. No. Sorry, can't do it.
Yeah.
You could have done it by now.
Him and Gullis kind of birds of a feather, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to rattle through these, Ava. We need to rattle through these because we've got sleep to get to. Who do you want to do? Should we do we'll do Carla Lockhart, will we? Do Carla Lockhart?
I have to be honest, I actually don't. I didn't get that far catching up.
That's
But I
fine.
can
okay.
read it quickly.
No, let's skip her. Have you done Deirdre Brock? Do you want to talk about Deirdre Brock?
That seems quite important though, that there are Irish police patrolling the border. Should we roll the clip?
Okay, roll the clip.
Hypocrisy needs called out, and everyone in this House will recall the former Irish Prime Minister in Brussels with a photograph of a bombed customs post lamenting that any border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland was unworkable, it was in breach of the Belfast Agreement and could result in such troubles again. The hypocrisy of the Irish government from such a position has not been lost, with the Irish police now tasked to patrol the border, protect protect from the unsubstantiated, unfounded 80% figure of asylum seekers who supposedly make their way to the Republic of Ireland from the UK via Northern Ireland, when actually the reverse is true? Will the Prime Minister challenge and call out these actions and confirm what representations he has made to the Irish Prime Minister and the Justice Minister to respect the integrity of our UK and
Well, the House will be aware that we have made commitments to avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland, and the Honourable Lady makes a very important point that the Irish government must uphold its promises too. We can't have cherry-picking of important international agreements, and so the Secretary of State is seeking urgent clarification that there will be no disruption or police checkpoints at or near the border, and I can confirm that the United Kingdom has no legal obligation to accept returns of illegal migrants from Ireland. Now, it's no surprise that our robust approach to illegal migration is providing a deterrent, but the answer is not sending police to villages in Donegal. It's to work with us in partnership to strengthen our external borders all around the common travel area that we share.
It feels pretty important to me that there are police patrolling the border.
Would we call it the militarisation of the border?
What I'm confused
That's one
about is that there doesn't
interpretation.
seem to be any figures or numbers of asylum seekers.
They've said it's 80%.
Okay, but they're also saying there's like 6,000, but there's no figers to back it up.
There's no evidence for that.
There's
for
no
the
evidence.
80% claim, no.
There are actually 6,000 asylum seekers in this room right now.
And Micheál Martin, are the asylum seekers in the room with you now?
Yeah. Yeah.
This feels like pandering to the worst aspects of Irish society, does it not?
I've got to be honest, because I didn't hear the clip. I
Right.
don't want to agree with you wholeheartedly.
Well, let me tell you it is.
Is it?
Yes, 100% it is. Yeah. Show us the figures. So what's the basis for you saying this?
Oh, sorry, what we're talking about,
Yes.
not what Carla Lockhart have to say.
No.
I was like, I don't want to
What we're
say that
talking
she's
about-
the worst part of Irish
no,
society.
No, sorry. Carla Lockhart. I'm not saying that about Carla Lockhart. I'm saying that the sort of reaction to 80% of these people are actually coming from Britain, and maybe that's because of the Rwanda scheme, and then being like, oh, well, we'll send the guards over there to fucking do something about it. It is just, you're pandering to an insurgent Irish far right. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. And I think it's
Yes, because I'm
pathetic.
confused about how people got there.
Well, I think they walked.
What, from the bridge between
No, from
England and Northern Ireland?
From Northern Ireland.
No, I get how they crossed
into
the border.
Republic. Well,
I
what do you
got
mean?
that bit. I meant how they got onto the island of Ireland in the first place.
Well, options are ferry.
But that
Flight.
would mean so what they're suggesting is that there are asylum seekers who are in the UK already or in England already, and they're taking a ferry over to Northern Ireland. Well,
Could go from Stranraer.
they should
Liverpool.
really find some evidence for this, because it's a pretty big claim.
Yeah, I've gotten the ferry a few times as well. Like, they do want to see who's in the car. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to give your license over.
Do you?
Yeah. They're like, who are the names of the tickets? Have you got your IDs? And they look in the car.
You can't walk onto that ferry?
They're right. Yeah, you can walk onto the ferry. Yeah, but there's a passenger ticket.
Do you have to show
I've
ID?
never walked on, so I don't know if you have to show your ID doing that.
I'm not sure either.
But I think probably you
It's
do.
a really long ferry. You wouldn't believe that it was how many hours it is. In my head, it's like a...
Wait, are you talking about Salem Road? Or are you talking...
Oh, I'm talking about Liverpool.
Yeah, because that is a fairly long one. Actually, I slept on that one. But the Stranraer one across was too long. It was my stag do. And I think I maybe drank a bottle of red and 8 to 12 shots of whiskey in the course of the ferry journey.
Oh, God.
It was too long for me.
How long was it?
Maybe an hour. I couldn't tell you. But that's not enough time to drink all of that.
No. I've never been more frightened in my life than seeing one picture of you on your stag do. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I was a husk of a man.
I think I actually yelped.
Yeah, it was terrifying. But I lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, but you had a nice time.
I did. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Anyway, and then you walked over the border.
Yes. And then I tried to climb asylum in the Republic to avoid the rest of my stag party in the north.
Question.
Shoot.
If you're putting... How British Army of him. If you're putting guards on the border,
Yeah.
how does the integrity of the Good Friday Agreement
Yeah,
hold
well,
up there?
that is what I was alluding to. Yeah.
And then the other question here is, what about the sausage alignment?
Look, if you want to be the Republic, and rightly, I would say, make a big song and dance about how you can't impose border infrastructure, you can't impose any form of customs checks, you can't check goods. The entire nature of the thing is that it's porous, right? I've been there. I've made a video about it. In fact, I illegally smuggled fireworks across the border for said video.
Oh, right, for the video, for journalism.
Yeah, in the name
Sorry,
of
I
journalism.
thought we were back on Stag.
No.
Okay.
No. Still illegal, but no. So it's in the name of journalism, so it's fine. And I've forgotten where I was going with this. Yes, and so you say, okay, look, this is a key sticking point in the Brexit negotiations. You fucking idiot Brits, you need to sort this out. How are you not cognizant of the fact that if you do anything at this border, it will pose a ginormous problem? To then just be like, I'm going to appease some domestic racists and send the police to the border. It shows the complete shallowness and emptiness and vacuity in Ireland's senior political leaders, in my opinion. That was a nice little effect you did there on the table. It's like was that you? Did you hit the table then?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bong of Big Ben.
Why would NI care if people are going into ROI? Surely it's the other way around.
In what sense? Sorry.
Well,
why would we care
Yeah.
that asylum seekers were crossing into Ireland?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you were taking the view of the British government, you'd be like, "This is perfect. This is the
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
intended consequence. We're deterring them.
Yeah.
They're fleeing to Dublin."
Yeah.
Cool. Deirdre Brock, and then we're done.
Go on then.
Okay, roll the clip.
Mr. Speaker, the Greenpeace group Unearthed found 36 supposed grassroots campaign groups which were actually administered by Conservative staff and activists and were forums for vile racism, anti-Semitism and Islamophobic attacks on Sadiq Khan. Now, one hears of other such coordinated efforts around anti-20-mile-per-hour zones in Wales. Can the Prime Minister shed some light on these shady groups spreading abuse, their funding, their links to his party, and whether he is aware of similar operations existing elsewhere in the UK? If he won't, will he at least commit today to investigate and take action to tackle the sources of this grubby gutter politics?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not aware about the topic that the honourable lady raises, but I'm not going to make any apology for Conservatives pointing out the record of whether it's the SNP in Scotland or the Labour government in Wales, because that's exactly what democratic process is about. She might not like it when we highlight their record, but we will keep doing so that we can deliver for people across the United Kingdom.
Gutter politics. Ollie Dugmore.
Latest gutter politics update.
Gutter.
Susan,
Did we ever get out the gutter?
I live in the gutter.
Yeah.
Je suis le gutter.
There's leaves in my gutter.
I'm a rat that lives in a gutter.
So, this follows on from the news earlier today that Susan Hall, Conservative mayoral candidate,
Yep.
up for election tomorrow, of course,
Bring your ID.
it has joined another ULEZ group, anti-ULEZ group. And within these
On Facebook group.
And within these anti-ULEZ groups, there seems to be, it's really strange because like the Venn diagram of people who like are anti-ULEZ also seem to be rather racist. It's just a complete circle
I think that's slightly unfair.
in these groups.
Right.
Excuse
fine.
me, in these groups.
Okay.
It's sort of like how the people who hate asylum seekers love dogs. You know what I mean? Have you ever met a proper racist who wouldn't kill you
Yeah.
over a dog?
No. No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. So, dog lovers racists, anti-ULEZ racists. Any others you want to add to the category? in the
COVID
Venn?
skepticism, I think that's got to be somewhere.
Ah, but they had kind of like a whole like wellness hippie fucking thing to them as well.
Well, I'm going to say something to you, Ollie, and it's going to blow your mind.
Shoot.
Some hippies are racist.
I refuse to accept that.
Some hippies pseudo hippies, grew up in very wealthy areas, and they went through a brief period of time where they discovered
Cannabis.
cannabis and lived in, warehouses with like-minded people. But it always comes back around.
You lived in a warehouse for a bit.
Yeah, but I'm not a racist.
That was convincing.
Or a hippie.
You had me fooled.
That warehouse was great. There was actually... No, I'm not going to say that.
So anyway, about the artists is what you're going to talk about now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Observer runs a story about Susan Hall being in these Facebook groups on Sunday. She then joins another one today. Don't back down, double down.
She even invited reporters actually to come and when she was canvassing with one of the campaigners.
Who's quite an unpleasant individual, if I'm not mistaken.
What, Nick Eilert, the founder of one of the anti-ULEZ groups? What do you mean?
I believe he has some political associations that might not necessarily be the most centrist.
Oh God, you're so Islington.
Yeah.
Like what?
I think Tommy Robinson is. He's a pretty big Tommy Robinson
Man
guy.
of the people, Tommy.
Yes, sorry. Oh, Tommy! I'm not going to go the whole way
Can we
through.
put that clip in here where he falls over?
Well, you can listen to them talking about this in the House of Commons, or they could listen to Sadiq Khan talking about it because he was fucking. He was sat right here. I'm sat in his seat now.
Yeah.
He was in
You're
this.
drinking his water.
I'm
Actually.
drinking his water.
Yeah.
I'm drinking his water, and I'm eating his dinner as well.
Yeah.
Always eating Sadiq.
But he
Khan's
left no
dinner.
crumbs. I thought.
No crumbs on the table. You didn't leave any crumbs. You were out of it.
I was out of it. Yeah. But in my defence, I did leave later than planned.
You did.
I left actually an entire 6 minutes later than planned.
So you nearly missed your slot.
I did nearly miss my slot, and I turned up to a poor producer who was quite ashen faced.
Quite stressed.
Yeah.
So let's just listen to it, shall we?
Yeah, here we
play
go.
it. Here we go. Fucking chew.
This is going to be a close election. I think this will be the closest election London has seen. I always predicted the polls would narrow. What makes me even more nervous is I've been speaking to many Londoners who didn't realise they need photo ID. The Tories have changed the rules. Two big things they've done in this mayoral election. One is for the first time it's first past the post. So normally Londoners can vote with their heart's first preference. It could be Greens or another smaller party. And their second preference is like an insurance policy. The Tories have got away with that. Which means it really is, according to the last 24 years, only one of two parties that can win, the Tories or me. And secondly, they've introduced for the first time ever in our country photo ID. So unless you've got a passport or driving licence, an older person's travel card, but not a younger person's travel
Absolutely
card,
not. That makes it too
you
easy,
can't
wouldn't
vote.
it? For people to vote.
Well, that means there's 900,000 Londoners eligible to vote who haven't got photo ID, and that's why I'm incredibly nervous.
900,000?
15%. 15% of Londoners have not got a photo ID. And what really concerns me is 1 out of 3 eligible young Londoners on the electoral register. If that wasn't bad enough, only half of those below the age of 30 vote, compared to more than 75% of those above the age of 65. So the Tories deliberately made the playing field as uneven as possible, which makes it really hard this week, Thursday.
Well, you're talking to them now. You're talking to the under 30s. So what should we say to them? Don't be lazy tomorrow?
Well, firstly, to my daughters, please tidy your bedrooms. Like, oh, come on.
They are listening to the podcast,
come on,
aren't they?
Anissa. Come on, Amara. I don't ask for much. You've got to admit. That's the most important thing.
Did you tell them you were coming on today?
No, I haven't. This is a surprise. Because basically,
Yeah.
well, no, because what happens is they won't listen to you because I'd rather listen. Oh my God, my dad's on, and he's shamed us. But secondly, look, I mean, there's a great saying from one of my favourite politicians of all time. He's a fictitious politician. He said, "Decisions are taken by those that show up," and if you don't vote this Thursday, don't think others won't, vote. They will. And there's a reason why, people not unreasonably complain. Why is it that Westminster politics is obsessed with pensioners, the triple lock, obsessed with making sure they look after older people for a variety of reasons, not least because they vote, right? It's self-preservation. So if my campaign manager would say, not mine because he's very good, they'd say, if you've got an hour to spare, don't spend it with younger people because they don't vote. Spend it with older people because they do vote. And that's why you see the Tories manifesto, what there is of it, is focusing on older people because they vote. We focused on younger people because that's the future of our city. And so I implore younger people, please vote this Thursday and take your voter ID.
But your big, the other option tomorrow, who we did invite to be here, but she was unavailable. I think she was on. I think she was too busy liking tweets that endorsed Enoch Powell.
Well, can I just deal with that, Ava? I mean, look, I've never faced a politician that can win an election who has supported Donald Trump on a number of occasions, liked Enoch Powell. When it comes to words that are clearly anti-Muslim, Islamophobic, and racist, call them inverted commas hurty words, amplified a swastika with pride colours with some sort of glee. Said things like the black community has a problem with crime and is also in favour of massively increasing stop and search. So, you're right, Ava, to take us back to the choice this Thursday. The choice this Thursday is somebody who loves this city, will always talk up this city, warts and all. Somebody who's trying to build a fairer, greener, safer London versus somebody who always talks down our city, is divisive, is hard right. And I make this point as well, I know for a fact if I lose and the Tory wins, Lawrence Fox will be chairing, Lee Anderson will be chairing, Tommy Robinson will be chairing, Swallow Brabham will be chairing. Those across the globe that don't know her but know of me will be chairing. Donald Trump will be chairing. Victor Orban will be chairing. Marie Le Pen will be chairing. That's what's on the ballot paper this Thursday.
Do you think her campaign's been racist?
I think some of the things she has said and done are racist. I think the fact that we saw this Sunday in the Observer newspaper, there are closed Facebook groups that she's a member of, and she's condoned and encouraged people who have said things that are anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, and racist, causes me concern. Anybody in this day and age that can like Enoch Powell, there's questions to be answered. Anybody who makes a sweeping generalization about people because of the colour of their skin, the black community has a problem with crime, has serious questions to answer. But I don't like talking about horrible people, but Lawrence Fox does a tweet with a swastika with pride colours. What does that mean? I spent this Sunday at the Two Brewers in Brixton, Lambeth, in Clapham, where two members of that community were the victims of a horrible homophobic attack. This weekend we commemorated the awful homophobic attacks in Soho and Brixton that took place 25 years ago. So when you're amplifying things online, you must know that it can lead to not just online racist behaviour, but racist behaviour in real life as well. And I think, if you're a responsible politician aspiring to be the Mayor of London, you've got to know that's a consequence. And this is not dog whistle politics. This is megaphone politics.
This is kind of becoming a recurring trend, right, in the Tory campaigns against you. We're talking about how fantastic and young this podcast is. I'm old enough to remember Zach Goldsmith's campaign against you, right? Yeah. And it seems peculiar to me that you look at London as a multicultural, diverse city, a place where difference is actually celebrated. I don't understand. What's the rationale? What's the Conservative rationale for running that type of campaign?
It goes back to Ava's very first question, which is, why young people should vote. They've calculated the Tories, but young people don't vote. And I'm making a generalisation to make my point. Older people may have some views that are small c conservative. They may be able to be pandered, to be scared about certain things. And let's encourage a small group of people to turn out, which will mean that they win the election. That's their route to victory. And actually, those advising them will say, hold on a sec, that's how Trump won in 2016. That was the genesis of the Brexit campaign in 2016, get Brexit done, all right? And so they've seen there is a route to victory that is talking down, that is fear, that is division, that is hatred. And that's the campaign they've used. The number of times where I'm supposed to be doing debates against my opponent and she's not turned up and they've sent a substitute. I mean, that shows, rather than having a debate, this has been a battle of ideas, a battle of competing visions. It is them having a submarine campaign below the radar. They've paid for, commercially delivered direct mails. They've paid for adverts on Instagram, YouTube and Facebook, deliberately targeting a certain demographic. And I think those people they're targeting aren't as bad as the Tories think. They're not deplorables. They're decent people whose fears are being played on. And I'd rather address people's fears rather than play on them.
Ava, that's that. That's the end of the podcast.
That is that.
That's the end of the podcast.
Go and find your ID, boys. It's polling day tomorrow.
Get your ID. Go and vote. Enjoy it.
Spit shine your ID. Take her out for dinner.
What?
Buy her a glass of wine.
you like on a date with your driving license. Because it's actually quite funny because when you say take her out for dinner, the person we're all talking about is ourselves. The person on the driving license is you. I'll spit shine my own driver's license.
Self-care, that though.
Put it on like a pillow next to me in bed.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's ready for its big day tomorrow at the polling station.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let us know what polling station you're voting at tomorrow.
Yeah. See you in the subreddit, as always.
Where will you be voting tomorrow?
My local polling station, yeah.
Oh, I really wanted to trick you into giving you. I was like ready to go.
You dickhead. No.
Yeah.
No, not falling for that one. I'm going to go before work.
I've got a really good one.
Have you?
Sean's got a really good one too, actually.
Mine's a civic building.
Mine's a town hall.
Nice.
Sean's is a church.
Strong.
It's a really nice church.
My old one was a really shit new church.
Oh, one of the Methodists.
Yes. God. Fucking reformist bollocks.
You know, at least...
my views on God are now well documented on this podcast.
Well, at least the Church of England had some decency to keep some of the Gothic architecture that we bestowed on them. The Methodists, Jesus.
There's some really interesting electoral maps that I would encourage viewers to look at that map overlay political party support in the UK with the spread of nonconformism, and actually that sort of nonconformist tradition, Baptists, fucking Methodists, etc. It's not perfect, but it maps very neatly onto areas that still vote Labour today. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I know we've been Sadiq Khan focused here, but if you have got a Metro Mayor ballot in your area tomorrow, go and vote.
Yeah, West Midlands.
Yeah,
North East.
It's
Jamie Driscoll might win in the North East.
Jamie Driscoll could win in the North East.
That would be mad.
How purdery are we if I start?
We're going to publish before the election. It's fine.
Well, we're in purder now, aren't we? Well, we're not Ofcom.
We're not Ofcom. This is the thing. The only reason we do is our better judgment. Because there's no fucking. We're not regulated by anyone. Do you know what I mean?
The Labour candidate in where Jamie Driscoll is running once replied. Basically, it's been like anti-gypsy, and weirdly, no one actually knows why Jamie Driscoll got taken off of the Labour ticket. Their team don't actually know. They think it's because he appeared alongside what's his name,
Ken Loach,
on a stage. In the wake of the anti-Semitism allegations. But it was never actually put down pen and paper to them of why that happened. And then they bring in this other person who's just like, I don't know. It's just sort of like tears of racism, isn't it, really? I really think if it's racism, it's racism. It's just like the...
Say it again, sister.
It's so...
Sing it.
Yeah, it's just so, you know.
Yep.
I don't know.
Grim. Well, maybe he'll win. Maybe he'll win. Other little bit of housekeeping. We're doing a live podcast at the How the Light Gets In Festival, 27th of May. I'll be interviewing Aaron Bastani. It's called A Brave New World. You can get your tickets at the link in bio. There's no Mingus in bio.
No Mingus?
No Mingus.
I think I'm going to miss you. I think I'm there 2 days before you.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. It's a bank
holiday,
so
they got pretty desperate.
They brought both of us in.
And they've been trying to fill a couple of slots.
What are you talking about?
I think I'm actually going to be on a panel chairing something with Aaron Bastani. I did say
double header.
Paul
Joe Navarro double header.
Yeah, but I think I haven't confirmed. I need to go upstairs and confirm it. But there was one that they asked me to do, and I didn't even understand the title of it, so I just said I can't do that one.
Nice.
Something about geopolitics, and I was like, it's not for me.
Nice.
I really do Westminster. And even that, I do that gently.
So look, if you can't go and you haven't got tickets, you can wait, and we'll publish the audio from these events. You'll get them in the podcast feed, so you can hear the conversations. But I always like meeting people out in the street that like the podcast. I find it very refreshing. What will I ask him first? I'll probably just, classic of the genre. Aaron Bastani, welcome to the Hay Festival. How would you like to introduce yourself? That's how I usually start things off.
Is that your normal kickoff?
Yes, Ava. That's how I normally kick these things off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I usually say, "How's it going?" first.
Do you?
Yes. You know that.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really ill. On Workers' Rights Day as well. What?
It's May Day, Ava.
May Day.
A day of much significance, no?
May Day. You're telling me for the first time.
I know it's called Brave Old World, Sean. I said Brave New World. Oh no, that's the title of the book that's a pun on. No, the talk is called Brave Old World. Thank you for that. That's good housekeeping from Sean. At least someone's listening.
Yeah. Do they go buy tickets for Hay?
Yeah.
Do they? Well, if you want to go and see Ollie Dugmore in person, you can find him on the 27th of May at Hay.
Great.
Don't listen to what the Fence has said about the Hay Festival not being chic anymore. They're wrong.
Yeah, they were in my messages after this got announced. I think that's that, Ava Santini. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Are we done here?
We're done.
We are so done.
We are so done.
We are so done. It's over. It's over.